The next cabinet I want to show you is this one right here. So it's the base cabinet, one of the lower ones. It's a narrow space, so I didn't have many options as to what I was going to store in this cabinet. And I found myself storing breakfast items, syrup, cereals in that cabinet. And down below was with the oils and vinegars. I know it's like not a family of items, but that was the best storage option that I had available at the time when I was putting things away in this kitchen. But I'm going to show you what I have stored there now, how it's stored, why it was stored that way, and I'm actually examining another way to store some of these items. So I'll let you in on that when I figured everything out in terms of space. So space planning is going to be necessary for this to work out. So let me show you though what in here looks like. So here's a look at the cabinet. This is the top portion where cereals or breakfast items would be kept, and then down below for the oils and vinegars. Now this space was set up for the kids really. It allowed them to be able to access cereals so that they can make breakfast in the morning. This was convenient. It was lower down and they could easily grab what they needed to make breakfast that day. The rule here was you get to open one box of cereal at a time. When that box of cereal is done, you can move on to the next. And then I would just simply remove the basket, and if I needed to get to oatmeal or whatever else was stored in behind, then it would be easy to be able to do that by simply removing the basket. And the basket, that holds, you know, syrup, peanut butter, Pop-Tarts, just taking them out of the box. As we finish up cereals, I can just take the bag out of the box, secure that with a chip clip, and then keep that in here as well. Now, I would have preferred to have an acrylic bin. It's because I have acrylic bins in the kitchen, so it would have matched perfectly. The reason I went with this particular white one is because this is the size that I need. It worked perfectly to hold the contents that I use often. So by having this smaller size, I'm able to utilize the space in between here to hold either a smaller cereal box or even a larger one. Because I want this bin, I can't hold a larger cereal box in behind. So a little bit of a bigger bin would have taken up the space here, but then I'm only restricted to a smaller cereal in behind. So having this bin here, although it doesn't match everything else, it functions the way I need it to. So this is all about function, less about aesthetics. However, it still looks nice and neat because everything is organized. Lower down is a little bit of a similar setup. I have the cooking oils and vinegars contained in this basket. These are the go-to. So what you see actually more in the front are the items that are used most often. And in the same basket, items that maybe used on the occasion are in behind. It's rare that we ever take this basket out or need to lift it out unless to clean it. But otherwise, this system had worked well. This, as I mentioned, is a very narrow cabinet. Now I decided to put these items in a bin because it seemed like that was the best solution at the time, based on product availability and also based on the size of the space. If you're a renter or just not ready to drop a chunk of change on one of those pull-out systems, then baskets work well, and turntables are also great options. Okay, so I am super curious to find out what's actually hiding in behind this bin here. What are those items? How long have they been there? Do we still use them? Have we even used them? I don't know. So I'm gonna have to investigate and figure out what those items are, and if we don't need them, they're getting tossed. So I decided just to clear the cabinet and show you what I have discovered. Why is there 3 bottles of white wine vinegar? I don't know. Why? They're not even open. Have we even used it before? How did we end up with 3? I have extra virgin olive oil. We do use that often, so I'm gonna put that aside. We already have a bottle that we're using, so this is not the space for backstock. It was only to keep or store the added items that were used occasionally. But this is backstock, so this is gonna go where the backstock goes. You'll see that later. These 2 bottles, although used, I don't believe we're using them anymore. At least I don't. So I'm gonna put these aside and ask the hubby if he uses these, and if not, I think we're just gonna let them go. It literally just took a couple minutes to take a look at the items that were in the back to assess whether or not they are still needed, and if not, purged. And they're not needed. So the back is really empty right now, which is great. So the only items that we're gonna use are what's contained in this bin. And it just goes to show that when you are organized, the process of purging just goes super quick.